Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Coach's Corner. My name is Sam Eames and today I sat down with Susana Lopez. In this episode we break down exactly what and how Reformer Pilates works, who it can benefit, and a few demonstrations. Susana explains how it can support women through menstrual health, menopause, pregnancy and postnatal recovery, and why Reformer Pilates isn't just another fitness trend. This type of training is one of the most versatile tools for building strength, stability, and resilience. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome to this episode of Coach's Corner. This podcast is where we talk all things deep into the world of health, fitness, business, and mindset with people excelling in their game. My name is Sam Eames and this is episode 8. What if one piece of equipment could improve strength, mobility, recovery, and confidence in one, no matter your age or stage of your life? Today's guest is here to show and tell how. With over 15 years experience and a passion for women's health, she has worked with everyone from beginners to elite athletes, from prenatal clients to women navigating menopause. Her expertise is the sole reason why her partner Macca has stayed in his prime with a Baywatch level physique all these years. Susana Lopez, welcome.
Hi.
What's Macca going to think of that?
Oh, I think I'm gonna make her look at this big swatch. He might give you a call after straight away.
Yeah.
Good.
So we'll just jump straight into your history a little bit. So how long have you been a Pilates instructor for?
A Pilates instructor over 10 years. Mm-hmm. I was before that a personal trainer and a fitness instructor.
Yeah, cool. And then, so what was the change between being a PT and then becoming a Pilates instructor?
Hugely. It really changed the way I actually train my clients, or even I was doing the group fitness, the free classes and things like that, because on the basis of how Pilates work, the part of the centering of the core and all that work is really deep into, it changed your mind on how you look at how you actually train the body from up and down, mm-hmm. centering through the core, not just based on crunches and sit-ups. Going backwards in the years when I was playing volleyball myself, on the 80s they used to train us just to get power through jumps, to land in no loading joints. That was the core that used to hold us into the twist and hit a ball. And they used to tell us sit-ups and crunches. Yep. The planking was holds, was asymmetric movements, which it builds stamina, but what they needed for strength to hold the joints were in not just those plyometrics, also in core was crunches and sit-ups. Mm-hmm. When I studied Pilates and I started to work through Pilates, I understand that wasn't just it. That Pilates was about more the intrinsic, like really deep into the core muscles.
There's more to it.
And it's that there was more to it than just crunching using abdominals, and that the core was more than just the crunch and sit-ups. Mm-hmm. That's how it changed. So then when I was training clients, I started applying those core signature principles of Pilates into my training. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just about the core work, it was about how we lift, through core, how we move through core. Mm-hmm. So that's
and you kind of skimmed over a little bit there, but I don't think I've ever spoke to you about your ex-professional volleyball career.
Well, semi-pro. I did play professional. I did play the playoffs, the European playoffs,
like in
the
Spain
Russians,
or Europe?
with my team. Yeah, we played the European playoff, and I did play for what is equivalent here to Queensland for many years. From the age of 14, I was already in there. Not many people know that about me. Mm-hmm. As I always said, we only had newspapers. We didn't have cameras to say, hey, look, my proof. Yeah. It was huge. It was huge. It's what my passion about sports landed in through 16 years of playing at every level you can imagine in Spain. I wasn't the tallest. So I am tall for my generation, but not the tallest, because in volleyball 170, 172, you are the liver now, where before still. But I play as a spiker, and I play because I could jump. I could jump 75, 78 centimeters. I had jumped. So, and I'm long. I had more length than height. That's the funny thing about volleyballers. We are longer than taller, or equal length. And it's interesting how they look at your body.
Cover as much distance as you can.
Yeah, so I play at some level of it, and they train me as an athlete. Yeah, so with that background, when I studied in the industry, in the fitness industry, it really changed the way I did things.
Did that help you understand the bodies a lot more and how movement works?
Hugely. That's why for me, even nowadays in the Reformer studio, even on the mat Pilates workouts, or even if any other type of training that I can do, mobility for me, functionality is super important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so you also do instructor training right now as well?
I do that because of the love of sports and then, Pilates. I am a teacher. That's my huge background. I needed a background when I finished my career in volleyball. I knew I had to have something behind me, so I became a teacher in schools in Spain. And with that background, education has always been my passion. Like, I can teach a class, but if you're not coming out with anything out of it, I'm not talking about just like hurting your muscles. I want you to be educated about how you're moving, why you're moving the way you're moving, and why you have to breathe the way you have to breathe. So I decided I knew I wanted to write a course and to get into the education side of things. So I finally write the Reformer Fundamentals course that I ran here through Burpengary Gym as well. And I certified with Fitness Australia, and it's running, and I'm extremely happy. My next one is in September, 5th of September to the 7th. And educating trainers just to have a bigger understanding on movement and how we should do things.
So you need your Cert 3. So how long does a Pilates certification?
So the certification takes 3 days, full face-to-face, up to 30 hours. Then you have to do up to 100 hours of practical when it comes to observational hours, practical hours on the side. But prior to that, you have to have some learning, or you have to have as well a minimum of a Cert 3 in fitness or a mat Pilates course to bridge into my Reformer Fundamentals. And
can you just explain, for anyone that doesn't know, the difference between a Reformer Pilates and a mat Pilates?
Well, to start with, Pilates is a low impact exercise method that really focuses in postural alignments, core, obviously. We always talk about Pilates and core strengthening, postural alignment, flexibility, and if you look at it as strength training in a different form, although it's a lot of people out there that can say Pilates is not a strength training. Well, the Reformer is a resistance machine. That's how I mean it. The difference between Reformer and Pilates is the Pilates mat is your body weight. In the Reformer, you got a machine that assists you. It's a bit more to rehabilitate people in the way, like if you coming where I come from, where my joints are aching after 16 years of jumping, that really assists me and allows me at the age of 50 now to be able to train hard without the load of my joints that any other type of training can do, like heavy lifting. Can you do that heavy load in the Reformer? Yes, it's a resistance. How much resistance you put will add the load into, that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I train my clients down there. And
then how do you add resistance?
How you add resistance? Well, obviously you got the spring load in the Reformer, and also the bar has a different positioning where the farther you put it with the range of motion means it's harder, and also the tempo, how you move the machine in that resistance will create, the centric, concentric, or asymmetric movement, which for me is the essential of how you build the strength in the body.
Yeah, cool. So how old were you when you first walked into a gym?
Oh my God, I was young. As I said before, at 14, I was already playing the equivalent for Queensland. So
were you playing volleyball first and then you went to the gym, or were you in the gym first and you went to volleyball?
No, I was always very, you put me in a pool and jump running. I mean, my mom was really, this is a bit out of, my mom was really into the knitting, things like that. And my sister loved the knitting. I used to look at them and say, I don't want to do that. I want to go and run. I want to jump. I used to always go with that and play sports. He was into martial arts and football, soccer in Spain. Yeah. Soccer here, football in Spain. So for me, I bred sports through that big time. And I was always the one running and jumping and doing anything. The gym in Spain is not something you do unless you are into sports at early age, around 14. Generally, gyms in Spain, people, maybe now it's different, but in my era, around 18 is when people used to be really aware of, oh, my body's changing, let's start doing something. In my case, I was 14, entering a gym with the team. and work as a team. It was more into fitness group classes at the beginning, like kickboxing and things like that for power. Body pump was a huge thing already in the 80s in Spain. And then we did, towards the 16, we did the more work onto the machineries and things like that.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that's changed now in Spain, the culture? And
gyms? Hugely. Yeah. Now they got Pilates as an athlete. Yep. Now you do Pilates as an athlete. You do reformers and you do mat Pilates. And it is essential as part of your, not recovery days, your working days. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first training program looked like?
My first training program, oh my God. Basic.
Like first day in the gym or...
But it's still, you mean when I trained somebody or when I was training for myself?
When I trained yourself?
Oh my God, it was ABC. You know, pulls down, pull back, presses, and let's do biceps and triceps, and it wasn't cable machines at all at that stage. And then we did the basic quad work and hammy work, the lying down and lifting, ABC of lifting. That's it, of what a surfboard does, you know, on a book. You still see those movements on a book.
Yeah. Crazy. So what inspired you to become a Pilates instructor?
Injury. I left Spain to learn English. It was my passion. I wanted to become an English teacher when I finished high school, and my parents knew, and they got me well on having a backup as when your sport career finishes. Had major injury, and I torn my quadriceps, my right quadriceps, badly. So I did the bachelor in educations, and I went to Ireland to build up my English better, because I was teaching English as a second language in Spain. That was my major, with PE, with physical education. So I went to Ireland. The quad was already bad. It got worse because I never stopped exercising.
Did you hurt it playing volleyball?
I did, sprained it playing volleyball, and I finished it doing biking in Ireland. Getting a bike, like me being active all my life. And I went to a physiotherapist over there, and they say, you got to do Pilates. And I was like, what does Pilates have to do with my leg? And to say, your core strength is 0. I'm talking about 16 years of playing volleyball, jumping, hitting balls, twisting, throwing myself on the floor, running, and you're telling me that I had no core strength? And I didn't understand what she meant. So anyway, I ended up going to a lady called Susana that used to do Pilates in the school grounds that I used to work. So I went there, and she said, just stay with me 10 sessions. I need 10 sessions. And I remember the first class of Pilates, I was like, what am I doing here? Standing up, breathing, engaging, alignment with my spine. What am I doing? What is neutral? What is this? She said, stay with me for 10 weeks. And that was it. Like my body posture changing within 10 weeks. It's easy to say than done, but I mean, it happens.
Game changer.
Yes, it was a game changer. You can imagine 16 years of volleyball. I was hunched, like I was twisted, like injuries galore, right? Like it was awful. It was a game changer.
It just made me think, back when playing, obviously football with Macca, I think there were a few sessions that you did for us.
Yeah, I used to torture the soccer guys. I used to love that.
You used to love it, yeah. And because I remember prior to that, like maybe it was like a yoga session as well, but everyone's like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we doing this? They had absolutely there's no education around it whatsoever. And that's at no fault of anyone else's. But it's good now that, you know, a couple of years later on, there's so much more research and studies around all these different types of, fitness. Or I'm not going to call it a trend, but different types of fitness now.
That's it. The best I explain it is that you as a soccer player, you know, you're running, so you're in motion, and somebody comes behind you. You don't even see them coming. Yeah. It's a contact sport, so it's gonna come from somewhere. You're going for the ball, but somebody's going for the ball too. They're gonna come for you. How are you gonna stop them? With just your big muscles? What is stop them so you don't lose balance, so you don't end on the floor injured?
Balance, stability.
What is it? Core. It's your core.
Yep.
It's the center of your body. Centering is the major Pilates principle. And I always say there is a reason why Cristiano Ronaldo and all those huge, that they still at their age playing at the level they are playing, they've done what they've done for a reason. And they do. I'm not saying Pilates is the only thing you have to do, but I'm saying it should be part of every single athlete routine, of every person routine. 1 day a week will change your life, because then those principles, you use them in HIIT training, in lifting weights, on the bike, everywhere.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely underrated, and I hope something like this, and then even stuff online and socials can kind of help promote how beneficial. And I know firsthand as well. Like I did a solid 4 months at the start of the year until I tore some stuff, doing something other than Pilates. Just the benefits that I saw over that 4 months of 2 times a week as a Pilates, doing Pilates, like it was great. It really helps, like, the focus,
the mind-body connection, the flexibility.
Definitely.
For guys it's super important, but for women, because we are flexible, we assume we don't have to work on that flexibility. We need to work on flexibility with control. So.
Yeah, definitely. So how long have you been at World Gym Birkengo for?
In the gym, it's been now, I moved to the area 3 years ago, so it would have been 3 years on the dot that I reached
really? Okay. Because you were at North Lakes before that?
I was in Dolphins. I was at Dolphins for nearly 8 years, fitness and aquatic. Very good. That's what I work with, a lot of older demographics, where it's another game changer how you got to work as we age big time. And I was at North Lakes, but mostly I was doing work, all the online programs that I was doing, and the one-on-ones and small groups in North Lakes.
So how many classes do we have here at World Gym Birkengo?
Oh my God. In Reformers, I think there's 30. I can't even say anymore, because we do vary them through winter and summer. Obviously, when it comes to the big, there is a spring and autumn, but generally we're talking about like 6 months of the year, the 3 months of winter.
Numbers die down a little bit.
And still we're having, I think it's 35. I'm not sure. I have to count them.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for that one, but we do have a lot of them.
But each class is fully packed as well.
Yeah, they get packed. And to be honest, people get like, oh, it's not that busy. That's when we spend time in really working deep and with control and educating people. At least I do. I try to educate when I have 20 people. When I have 6, I love it, because I really can get into it and really cuddle them and make sure, because I'm really hands-on trainer. If I see something wrong, I'm going to go there and I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to make sure it gets in place and adjust the client. So, Yeah,
cool. And then how many instructors are there?
Oh, instructors, permanent, I think around 10.
Okay.
But we got a lot of casuals that come in and out on covers. That we do plenty of variety of instructors with different training behind them as well, which I think is the beauty of what we do in Reformers. Because Pilates could be really classical, but today there is something called the modern Pilates, which is, that mixture of getting the principles of Pilates to be used with, in my case, background, sports background, fitness, instructor backgrounds, a strength background, whatever you have, behind you, you can use that.
And it's probably similar to our WG room, where each coach or each instructor has their own niche, their own technique, their own style of
That's
training.
Right.
So
I agree. Yeah.
Definitely. If you weren't in the fitness industry, what do you think you'd be doing?
Still teaching probably is my passion. Although kids.
What subject?
Probably languages. I used to teach Spanish in Ireland as a second language and English in Spain as a second language, and then physical education for sure. Yeah, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because when I came to Australia, based on difference between universities, I couldn't jump straight away into schools. And my second passion, I wouldn't say my second, but when I studied to become a teacher was a backup because of sports, but sports has been my life, all my life. So I knew I had to do something related with English, with education and sports, and look what I'm doing today. Exactly. It's funny how, life just takes you where you are meant to be.
And you would never have guessed that, like you couldn't have planned
No, because I was happy teaching in schools. I was teaching in secondary schools in Ireland, and I had no one thought. I was thinking about doing the Pilates qualifications over there, but not more for myself. Never in a million years I thought, where my father knew. My father wanted me to study the equivalent, which is here, I think is the clinical for exercise physiology. In Ep8, it's a 5-year used to be. It's a 4-year career now in Spain. My father wanted me to go to Madrid, which is the capital. And I just was done with the traveling. I wanted to be close at home. So, and I knew, and he said, you can be an educator on that line, because, you can be a coach, or, it was huge that you could do. And look, my father, even when I told him, you're not going to guess that I become a personal trainer, he said, I knew it. He always knew it.
I just had a bit of a flashback, but I remember having a similar conversation with my dad. I think it must have been like grade 8 or grade 9 or something. And he always pushed me to do Japanese, and I fucking hated it. And he goes, what if you get a job over in Japan one day, being like a coach or something in the fitness industry? He goes, you need to learn Japanese and I'm like, there's other countries I can go and get a job in,
Why Japanese?
Japan? Anyway, it's a bit of a flashback from that, but very similar. But
they kind of know. It's like now I'm a mom, and we're guiding Madison now towards the last 2 years of high school, and once she wants to do and stuff, and I think your job is to let the kid, my father never stopped me to study English. He supported me. I went to Ireland, did a year of an au pair so I could learn English before I became an English teacher, because I'm not a perfectionist, but I like things done in the right order. But it's funny how life does a 360.
No.
I love sports, I love languages. I knew I had to choose one career of another, but look what I do for a living now. I'm in a country where I have to use English daily. I write courses in English because I'm writing my Pilates mat now, and I am educating still. So it just does, The universe has a very smart way of doing things when you put it out there.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it. Yeah.
And it just goes to show that you can't live by structure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe there is a Japanese job out there for me.
Yeah. You never know.
Let's jump a little bit more into the Reformers. So from September 21 to September 2022, Pilates become the fastest growing fitness genre in Australia, experienced a 250% increase in participation, outpacing yoga by nearly 2.8x.
Wow.
Do you know that?
Yeah, I knew how big it has grown, and I didn't know it was just within that year.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
And that's 2021 to 2022. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Well, there is a Pilates Reformer studio in every second corner. It's like, if you want to do Pilates, you're gonna find a place for sure.
It won't be hard.
Yeah,
definitely. And then I think there's even like some really cheap equipment that you can get on Marketplace as well. Like, if you can't be accountable enough to go to a gym and sign up at a studio or whatever, there's definitely stuff online.
I do tell people though, when they're gonna work with a Reformer at home, get a trainer. You got to go into a program that is being done and programming like we do it, like through somebody who understands Reformer and can teach Reformer. Because it could be a very helpful piece of equipment, but it could be very dangerous, like any piece of equipment if you think about it. But if you have, as you say, you can grab a Reformer these days for nothing.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on it briefly, but how would you describe Reformer Pilates to someone that's never seen it before?
Well, Reformer Pilates is Pilates, as we say. It is still a low impact, but it's an equipment where we apply all the Pilates principles, and where we work into that postural alignment, the resistance strength training, and where we focus really on, as I said, those Pilates principles, the flow of the movement, the alignment, the precision, the control, the centering, which is all the core that we talk about. And the breathing, which is my favorite one. When it comes to everybody, I still see people not breathing. I don't care if they're lifting weights, if they're throwing a punch, whatever it is, you need to breathe and you need to learn.
So what's your rule on that? Because my cue is always you exhale on the hardest part of the exercise, whether it's a push or a push or a pull, something, that's the exhale. Is that the same for Pilates? What's your kind of...
It is exactly that.
Yeah.
It's completely opposite to yoga.
Even on the roll-up, like exhale coming in, inhale when you... No, that'd be the other way around.
You inhale always to prepare to the movement, and you exhale. But the way you exhale, as I always describe it, you don't blow candles. Because when you blow candles, what you want to activate when you're doing any type of a strength training, resistance training, power training, anything, you have to use your transverse and pelvic floor. It's something that people forget all the time. Those are the ones that are going to support you. But not even when you're exercising, in everyday living. How do you live? That's what we call the ADLs, activity for daily living in Pilates. And it's a whole chapter in the book, and you are meant to do functional movements through the Pilates principle to be able, how are you going to lift the 5 kilo washing machine if you don't know how to lunge or squat properly and breathe out on the way up, lifting your pelvic floor and holding your transverse to round that corset, which is your transverse. So you breathe out. So as you breathe in, I have to do with my hands because that's the base. When you breathe in, you're meant to bring the air up, yeah? You're breathing in, you open the ribs up. Just out, sorry. So when you breathe out, you're meant to close those ribs because the air is coming down. So as you breathe out, if you're breathing out and you're not engaging your transverse and your pelvic floor, you're pushing air out. So what happens? If you're lifting heavy, hernias. What happens if you're doing Pilates Reformer and most of the people that do Pilates Reformer are women? We're talking about doming. I mean, we're talking about getting deep, your intestines coming from any spot. Those are hernias, those are pelvic floor dysfunctions, those are prolapse, those are, you name them, it happen. Yep. So you breathe it in, you breathe out through the back of the throat, that connects transverse. So you don't do, and then you hold your pelvic floor. They hold, I don't say people to hold, I would say more, it's a lift. You have to lift it. So the quickest for male and female is closing the air front and back. So you imagine air is coming and you have to stop it. That's a visualization. There is thousands of ways of visualizing the flower to close. There is many that make people laugh if you want, the specific cues, that you have to pick up a peanut with the trunk of an elephant and things like that, and people laugh about it. But that's how coach scenery should work. And if that is not explained in any class, we are missing out hugely on how powerful our body can be, the way we live, the way we save. That's to save your joints, all your spine articulation. Sometimes we are folding and extending with weight on our hands, even just downloading a dishwasher, things like that. Super important. To me, super important. That's how people get injured.
Definitely. Yeah, it's when they're least expecting it.
Yeah, that's right.
So with 75 to 80% of Pilates participants being women and only 20 to 25% men, it's often seen as a female-dominant workout, but is Pilates really just for women?
No, Pilates is not just for women. That's one thing, I don't know, this might be controversial, might be the first one that's going to give you a bit of controversy in the podcast, Sam, but I go crazy when I see online all the time the word Pilates princess. I go crazy because Pilates wasn't, Joseph Pilates didn't create Pilates as a soft side of training. It was low impact, but it was created for the military, the war people. It was for the war people that were on hospitals. He created the Reformer, he created Pilates through the springs of the beds in the hospitals. It wasn't meant to be. Have you seen the guy training guys or training women, pushing down? He went full on and full hard. So when I see people treating the Pilates like it's for women and they're making nothing wrong with feminine what you're doing Pilates, but it doesn't mean that you have to go soft and pretty, and it's not about how we look, it's not about how soft, no, it's about what it's meant to be. It's meant to be to strengthen, to align the body, and to avoid injuries or to recover for injuries. So we can't do that if we are just focusing on only women, all in pink, and great day, we haven't even sweat. That's what I get really passionate about this, because it was meant to be a form of rehabilitation, strengthening war people that came out of injuries of war, like fighting a war. Definitely. That's what he invented it. So, I get really passionate. Men should be doing more Pilates. The amount of hernias you guys could avoid. Yeah. That's the way I look at it.
Right, so you already answered my next question because I was going to throw a curveball at you and actually ask you who invented Pilates, but
our Joseph.
You beat me to it.
Our Joseph Pilates. Don't ask me years, my perimenopausal brain is going. But
I'm going to read this out because I'm actually pretty happy with this stat, but you kind of beat me to it. So Pilates was marketed for decades as a tony or graceful workout, which naturally resonated more with women, but Pilates was actually created by Joseph Pilates, a man to help male athletes, soldiers and dancers recover from injuries. Today there is a growing number of male athletes in sports like AFL, soccer, rugby and cricket adopting Pilates for mobility, core strength and injury prevention. So how would you adapt a class for complete beginners?
Well, with beginners, what you do is you focus on, I keep talking about it, the principles. He wrote the principles of Pilates for a reason. And the main ones, all of them are important, obviously. But for beginners, the centering, so focusing in core, movement and how they move it through breathing, which is another principle. So you teach the beginner to breathe properly, and then to use the center and the breathing with the flow of the movements. For me, and there is more, to be aligned on the position, but that's part of us instructors to align but for them to begin, the way you adapt there is to make sure they actually know, because they get lost in hands down, breathe out, lift pelvic floor, breathe through the back of the throat, stretch one leg out, and they're like, what is happening? It's a lot. So you need to start them with the very basics. And we start with there is basic exercises that you can take to different tiers and levels. But for beginners, for me, they need to understand, first of all, they need to know the machine. They need to understand what is this, what it's for, and then to bring body awareness. How do you bring to a beginner body awareness? Some of them didn't even know they had to breathe to exercise. That's how bad it is with body awareness. Or, as I said, you're telling them. So the way I do it with beginners is I work a lot of unilateral work. So not just a specific, because it's great for alignment and disalignments of the body. But for example, the left hand goes up, but the right leg goes out. Or it's only the right hand that moves, but only the red knee that stays in one position. So it's a lot for the brain to have to adjust. Super important. I'm the one who always get the brains going crazy.
What we might do is actually put up a couple of clips of just like a quick tutorial of a Pilates machine, and then we can kind of like show what the springs does. And for a complete beginner, if they do kind of come across this podcast and they go, I'm going to go give Pilates a go, just so they kind of know what they get themselves into.
Yes.
So we'll clip that right here. So can Pilates be a standalone fitness practice, or should it complement other training?
I think it should complement other training. I love Pilates, but I still use my backup in sports and fitness to train myself in the Pilates. So even with my husband, with Maka, when I tell him what to do, we use, the barbells, or we use whatever at home, heavy equipment. I use any other type of equipment, and then I get into the Reformer. I'll do both. Sometimes my Reformer training combines both. Like today we did, which probably we can put, it's part of what we can do a bit later. We can, I put a heavier weight, and when I'm talking heavy, for if you have even bigger, you will have to go the heaviest you can lift in a row to work into, the skaters on the sides and things like this. I think strength training can be combined with the Reformer hugely, and I can show you that as well later on how to achieve it. Because strength training for me is all about the load, the tempo, and the range of motion. As I said, from the concentric, eccentric, and the isometric movement. How much we lengthen, how much we shorten, and how much we hold. That's what those three words mean. So for me, that's how I see it.
Definitely. Yeah. And when you say heavy, like, I think, what's the heaviest in that room? 4 kilos?
But that's the thing. It's not really kilos.
Heavy is
it's the spring.
Different.
That's the thing. When we say 1 kilo, 2 or 3, it's not really a kilo. You lift a kilo, you put it on your feet, you probably won't even feel anything when you are used to nothing. We are talking about a spring tension. It's tension. So that's why the machine is a resistant machine, and that's why it's building muscle. The way I see it, maybe to strength training. Strength training, really, the focus of strength training for me is always been building muscle, making the muscle bigger, so you get stronger that way. With the Reformer, the way we get stronger again is about how much we lengthen, how much we shorten, and how we hold. So with load, so the load is you can have the max and you can have the length.
Which is
in the
when
machine.
You think about it, if you're just doing like a bicep curl or something, that's the exact same thing.
That's what I mean.
You have the holding and then the negative.
That's exactly right. There's the concentric, the eccentric, or the isometric, which is the holds, which everybody thinks. Which isometric, the way I was trained, is isometric really for me, movement is to actually, it's not so much to strengthen, but it's to...
time and attention.
Time and attention for stamina. Because you need a stamina if you want to build muscle. That's the way I see it. Like if one is heading and when you can't hold anymore is when you actually have to hold, because that's when it's happening. The change is happening in the fibers and the body, and that's right.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. What's a common misconception about Pilates?
Oh my God, that is easy.
Okay.
As simple as that. Oh, Pilates is easy.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're more than welcome to come in.
I can confirm it's not easy.
Yeah, I don't think it's not about even, because I don't see it could be easy. Today was an easy class, and they all came here sweating and saying that was hard.
Yeah.
But it was an easy class. The movements weren't complicated. They weren't difficult to think about body-mind connection too much. They were natural movements. We did our, I call them Ariels because we make a joke about it, which is the deadlifts on one leg with a scooter on one, with a heavy weight on that side on the Reformer. So they're basic fitness movements, but they thought they were super hard.
Yeah.
Because I used the load. My aim was to use the 9 principle of Pilates for strength training, and I loaded. So they felt it. And your load might not be mine.
Yep.
We in Reformers, we guide people, but if you find it easier, we always make it harder. If you find it too hard, we always regress. So the regression and progression is super important in Pilates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And not to call anyone out, but Katie did bully me my first couple of classes.
She's good.
She is good.
Good on you, Katie. Good on you.
Cool, we covered majority of this. What advice would you give someone considering becoming a Pilates instructor?
To take it serious, please.
Yeah.
Because they have the misconception, first of all, if you're going to become a Pilates instructor, don't be scared of, as they say, using then your background, whatever you did, Obviously, in my classes, you're going to see more as well of my bar training, which I think is super important, because it's hip mobility. Bar is a lot of hip openings, and for me, it's super important as a woman to maintain the hips strong. I believe that hips hold all the, emotions, and the more you're strengthening and move them, we've got to be real as we get older. One of the major things are hip replacements. So that's my background. But you, maybe Sam, will be more focused always on, I don't know if you do any mobility work, but probably more the functional side of exercises through strength training, which I used to. But but if you come from boxing and that's all you got, and then you do your Cell3 and then you do your Reformer, you might use that type of background in your Reformer.
They definitely do complement each other.
I believe so. So you have to, I always say to trainers when they are new, take it seriously and focus on these principles. This is the book. This is what you need to know very strong. But then what's your background? What can you add into this? And that's what I train the people.
You don't have to be too specific for this next one, but how much can a Pilates instructor make?
Oh my God. I don't know. But
a serious one. Not just
I was gonna say, like, as a casual is different, but a serious one, we are talking about between $50 up to $70 or $80 an hour. If you're closer to the city, if you are doing Reformers, you get paid more than much. Yep. Some jobs will give you a full-time job. You can seriously teach. Reformer doesn't take your body as like. It's exhausted because you are teaching, but it's not like if you're teaching fully mat. If you're teaching full bar, would exhaust your body very quick. So you can teach easily 2 sets of 3 in the morning daily. Just multiply. Mm-hmm. You can make a lot of money.
You can do okay with it.
Yeah, I think you can do okay. Am I saying everybody's going to make a lot of money? Hell no. But you can do well if you,
Definitely take it serious.
They pay well. The Pilates industry is paying well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So injury-specific data estimates the Pilates and yoga studio sector to generate in Australian 630 million in revenue by 2025, 2026.
Wow.
And with Pilates growing faster than yoga in Australia, up to 250% in just 1 year, that 630 million figure could even be higher if the current trends continue. This surge is being driven by more boutique studios, increased demand from women's health markets like pre- and postnatal and menopause training, and even professional sports teams incorporating Reformer Pilates into their programs, which is crazy.
It's amazing though, because if I think about it, like, nobody wanted even Pilates in the gyms. Nobody wanted bar in the gyms. Nobody wanted them. Like, it was only a few places I used to do. You had to specifically go to people who were trained or studios specific for that. Now, like Reformer, there's still gyms that don't have it, but every new gym is jumping into the work wagon. You have to have it. You will be left behind. That's
same
exactly
as the wellness
right.
area. Like, I feel like any gym that doesn't have that wellness area going in, or already has it pre-established, or it has plans for it at least, they're going to be left behind, and in the gym field. Or the
And
fitness
it's
field.
okay if you own a gym or if you had a studio and you don't want to do that. That's up to you. But I believe that today is like, not having Pilates in a sports facility is like not having a gym in a sports facility. A treadmill. I agree. Yeah.
So we've talked about the sports side of the benefits of Pilates. I want to transition a little bit more into the women with their pre and post natal and also the menstrual cycle. So you've mentioned how Pilates works with a range of people, but to go a step further, actually tailoring it for women depending on where they are in their monthly cycle.
Yeah, look, training with a cycle, another passion of mine since I studied it, because I experimented on myself that things were working the way I was doing them. I was like, why my body's not recovering well? Why is taking me so long? Why, like, I can't even lift today what I lifted just like 2 days ago? If I rested in my 24 hours, what's going on? So I knew it had to do with hormones. I knew enough about as a woman, but I thought I need to deep as a trainer into this. So the way I look at it for a quick, I don't know if we got the time, but I can give it so as we call it, there is 4 phases in the cycle. This is what if you have a cycle, okay? So you got the menstrual phase, which is generally day 1 till day 5 generally. That's when our energy is low, when we have the cramps, the moodiness, sorry guys, when not everybody, but you're not feeling great about yourself. The energy is low. So in that time, it doesn't matter if it's Pilates. Obviously, we are talking about the Reformers and Pilates, but in any type of training, you can take this with you. In that time, it's not time to push it. It's not time to go, today, I just got my period, I'm going to lift the heaviest I can ever lift. Why? Because there is a risk of injury. Our ligament laxity is there, so you can get injured. Your joints are not supported. So that's why Reformer is important on those days. Yeah. In focusing in control and low movement. So you don't go crazy. You don't go into high intensity, nothing like that, okay? Then we go what we call the follicular phase, and that one ranges between 5, 6, between 13. This can vary. Some people can go to the day 14. You're starting racing. You're starting having energy. You feel like the goddess of the world. Like, I'm gonna do it all. Yeah. I'm starting getting exercise for it. So that's when you are meant to. This is the time where you're gonna build body and muscle and stamina and cardiovascular. So go for gold. Go for the cardio. Go for the heavy lifting. Go for the Reformer. Go for gold. 6 to 13 to 14, okay. Yep. More or less. So that's the follicular phase. Then we got into what I call the ovulation. This is even higher. Your hormones are starting racing even higher, preparing to start dropping. Yep. This is the peak. What happens with this though in ovulation, which people, they understand the cycle as I'm on ovulation, I can go hard, very careful, because it is the time to maintain, though your brain is so happy, you want to do it all, you want to do new things, it's no time for it. It's in the second phase, it's time to do the new things and the hard work. In the third phase, which is the ovulation, it's time to maintain it. You still can lift heavy, but not heavier than you live in the second, if it makes sense.
Second, third,
yeah. Why? Because of the relaxing hormone. So in ovulation, the aim of ovulating for a woman is to fall pregnant. When we are pregnant, the relaxing is as well there, which means ligament laxity, which means joints are gonna go, whoa. Do you imagine laxity is somebody who, and if you're already hypermobile, so that risk of injury, that's right. So what you do is about maintaining it, not about lowering down, but to listen to your body and mostly control the flexibility. So when you're working through flexible movements that we do, mostly in Pilates to do flexible movements, you need to control it. So if you're gonna work through flexibility, we need stability. So it's good to load when you're gonna stretch, because otherwise your flexibility is gonna go if you go too light, if it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that's where you have to focus on that phase. And on your last phase is where our energy starts dropping down, all the hormones are going down, so progesterone can't go. It's just we can't go really deep into it, but we are meant to then, is the time to, this is what I tell people, to go back to, not so much to slow down to when we have the first few days of period, But yeah, you really steady, no time to go crazy either. And it's time to incorporate the yoga, the mindfulness, and to really nurture your body. That's the time your body, your mind needs to be nurtured. So if you're gonna start Pilates Reformer or your first training session with Sam, I will not recommend it to do it on your last phase, which is the follicular phase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
cool. Was there anything else you wanted to add into that, or very general information? Or?
Generally,
you pretty much covered most of it, like the cycle and.
Yeah, what you can do with the entire cycle when it happens is if you want me to add it, like when you're in perimenopause, I am on it. That's the hardest time to train, and I mean the hardest because we don't have that regularity on cycles anymore. So when you are postmenopause, so menopause is when you stop the period, then you're not, it's a day, 12 months after you stop your period, that's menopause. And then suddenly the day after you're already on postmenopause because you don't have the period anymore. In postmenopause you can follow the lunar cycle. So the moon has 28-day cycles. Isn't it the universe is smart, I think? So there is a lot of apps that you can download. The full moon is the first day of your period. And then you can then from first day to 5, 6 day to 13, 14 to 19, and 19, if I'm not forgetting, 19 onwards to that 28. That's your lunar cycle. So you can train like that. So you got your cycle, you got your lunar cycle. When you're in perimenopause, you are neither here nor there. So you are like...
Just trying to figure it out.
Feelings. This is where being connected to yourself and your body comes into account. I'll give you a quick example. I'm in that phase myself. So when my body is really tired, I feel my joints more. I know probably I'm going through ovulation. My period, if I haven't had it yet, because my periods might be longer than usual now, or shorter than usual, or I don't even have it. So generally, I can think about as well if I get really hungry and I want to eat the world. I know I'm going in that last phase because on the follicular phase is when we need more nurturing. So that means it's not time to push it. So then I'm full of energy. I'm like, I want to tackle the world this week. I know probably, and that's what you have to play with those feelings. If you don't have a regular period, unfortunately, you got to listen to your body a bit more. We still can train with a bit of a cycle. I still have a cycle monthly, but then if you miss it a month, what do you do? What do you do? Yep. You need to be conscious about it. That's all. Yeah.
So how does Pilates help support bone density, muscle retention, and joint health during peri and post menopause?
Oh, hugely. With the loss of estrogen in perimenopause and menopause, we lose everything from muscle mass to bone density. So the Reformer itself, being a resistance, is going to help with that bone density
so
building.
Impact.
That's it. It's low impact, supports your joints. That's how it's, the alignment of the body that you have to keep in Pilates will help your spine and around it. So that will really help your positioning and your bones to hold in place too better. But for me, it's more through those times and the loss of estrogen, we need something that we lose that we can do in Reformer is jump training and the plyometrics that we can't. If I jump into a box the way I used to jump on volleyball or jump and land, I will really hurt myself now, but I can do it on the Reformer. And it's still that impact, jump is super important for building bone density. So. And
the reason for that is you can actually add an attachment to the bed.
That's it. It's called the trampoline or jump board. If the trampoline is softer, the jump board is a bit harder. Still, I believe the impact is super important. A lot of people are so scared. This is where, though, the breathing synergy is super important because we don't breathe when we are doing the movement, which is the jump out. We breathe out when we land because it's when the impact is going to happen. Is when you want to hold your core. You want to hold your pelvic floor, transverse engagement, so you breathe out so the landing is softer on your joints, if it makes sense. Super important. So that's how the Reformer can assist you as a resistant training machine for, building muscle. If you build muscle, you're going to protect your bones, and then the plyometrics through the jump board. That's how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed a lot of that. which is good. We'll touch on pregnancy and postnatal training as well. So how do you adapt to Pilates for pregnancy and early postpartum recovery?
How I end up doing it.
So how do you adapt to Pilates?
How I adapted to Pilates. Look, the main focus for when at the moment I have some pregnant ladies down there, and I always tell them, these are the words I tell them. It's not time to build, it's time to maintain. It's time to prepare you for your birth and to prepare your body for what comes after. Because the postpartum could be really tough, not just mentally, but physically. So the way I adapt things is I make them to know clear that, because the questions is like, what can I do? I'm in my first trimester. The way I was taught, there is no separation first, second, third. Everybody's different. I did Pilates up to 36 weeks. Madison came at 37. So my body knew it was happening, and my body said no. On the 36th week, I said to my trainer, I don't think I'm feeling good.
I just want to touch on how important that is, because I get questions, obviously, through the high intensity side of things. Everyone is so different. Very different. During that time as well. Like, some people can train up to, say, 12 weeks. Some people can train up to 36 weeks. Like, it is, you literally have to listen to your body. I got trained by Barrel Education, one of the best trainings for postnatal and antenatal I've ever done. Yep. And they've made it very clear. It's not about first trimester, you are up to here, you can do crunches, and then when it goes to the second trimester, make sure, no, what you gotta listen is like overheating, itchiness, redness suddenly in your body, dizziness, overly nauseated, and if that's happening, you stop. Yep. And then to know what is the recovery side. For a pregnant lady is the left, L for labor. So you put them in that side, but I never stop people doing. I had a client in here doing Pilates fusion with me and Reformer up to the day before her daughter was born. Yeah. Is it crazy? Yeah, what I don't recommend though is like, when people come, I'm pregnant, and they've never done Pilates. And suddenly they want to not just do Pilates, they want to do Reformer. It's no time to even because what they have to focus in exclusively as a pregnant lady is transverse engagement and pelvic floor. So that doesn't, because it's gonna get destroyed, but it has the memory to come back easier. Yeah. Okay, so not too much work on obliques, because the more you work on the obliques, the more it could end into a diastasis recti. But yeah, I tell them to keep it simple, no time to crunch up. Is anybody saying you shouldn't be crunching up? Why not? If you know how to properly, because the abs are on top of your belly anyway, but why would you like to crunch up and put more pressure on your spine when you are growing a human being inside you? Exactly. That's what I said to people, when there is so much more you can do with your core. So what's the biggest mistake women make when returning to exercise after birth, and how can they avoid it? The biggest mistake that they just, they go in and they think they are gonna be where they were before they left. Do you think they try and play catch up? Big time. Yeah. Big time, because as a woman I can guarantee you your body goes to hell after birth. And when you've been fit and then suddenly, I'm not talking even about kilos, and I'm talking about hell inside, like things have changed, your hormones are all over the place, your mind, you are just feeding a baby, you're not sleeping, you're not in the best place possible to get your body to, okay, I used to do the 2.5 kilos I go, and I used to do all these crunches and core. Now that I don't have the baby, I'm going to go back straight away to crunches, straight away to planks. No, it's not the way to do it. So first, you see a women's physio and get checked. I do not train anybody who has not seen a women's physio. And I know how to check for diastasis, domine. You will ask the women, it doesn't matter if they had the baby 3 years ago or 20 years ago. If they've never been checked, and they should be. They should be. I think that's just essential, and it's part of our job as well. Part of our job as well to actually delegate that job to the professionals, get a decent check, unless they got it, then that. Secondly, clearance from GP and obstetrician if they see one. Then with that information, you tell them first restore. So we have to teach core synergy and breathing, because believe me, the pelvic floor engagement is gone. The mental body-mind connection is completely gone after birth. So you got to train them to teach that to get back slowly. Yep. And then, the breath, the core synergy,
Then we start with the Kegels, full continuum Kegels, as I call them, which is with the movement. Then loading, you use all that work with some loading, and then you add the functional movements into it. Because you still have to prepare them. They got to destroy completely core, and they got to leave a heavy prom, a baby that could be 3, 4, 5 kilos by the time they start recovering. So you got to prepare them. You got to be functional with them. We are teaching postnatal clients not to be functional. It's not good.
No, definitely. So we've talked about how Pilates works in theory for different stages of life. Now we're going to go see it in action. So we'll head down to the Reformer studio, go over a couple of Reformer routines and movements, and explain how they can be adapted for different people. All right, guys, Susana's just going to go over a couple of Pilates routines. All right, so what do we got first up?
We're going to go for the basics to warm up the body, which is the footwork in Pilates Reformer. It's really good, you know, when we talk about the movements to warm up and build through core and the strengthening through legs and with the resistance of the Reformer. We got the 2.5, which is the basics for a warm up. We always can go harder. The aim is not to go against the shoulder rest, because it means you are not using actually your core and your body to push the Reformer, but your shoulders, yeah?
So to increase the resistance and decrease it,
we change the springs, or we change the foot bar. Now, the taller you are as well, I always explain to people, is the harder it gets if you push it away, because we have more leverage to move, if it makes sense. Like a shorter person will have to move the legs this much, a longer one will have to. So you have to keep that in mind as well.
Okay.
So that set bar is on the farther out, which it will be the hardest part for me as long legs or even Sam's. But if I want to make it a little bit easier, I will take that bar into the closest one, which is you take off the spring.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's go over the warm up of a.
Well, the basics is to lie down into your neutral spine and just to place you can place, keep it flat, the head rest, because we're going to bridges here. The heels have to be connected, and always there has to be an alignment. What we do here a lot is when we're pressing out into our breathing in, opening the ribs, breathe out, close it. Through the back of the throat, we place the Reformer out, and we tend to tuck the pelvis in. That's super important. It's like when you imagine you're squatting, and you're pressing out. When you come up, you don't want to tuck it, because then all you're doing is putting pressure in your spine. So just pressing out. And generally, we breathe in and out, and we take it with control, because this is a concentric and then an eccentric movement. You can leave here the beauty of the Reformer headrest. And then you have to have the hands in alignment. The core, you breathe in, lift a leg. As you breathe out, ribs to hips, lifting the pelvic floor to hold you nicely. Now you breathe in, you let go the pelvic floor. I always say that to people. Basic movements, we start with a basic curl into the hands towards your hips, tapping toes, 1, 2. As you breathe out, breathe in to return. You keep going. Now, beginners, they'll find really hard to even maintain the 2 legs in tabletop. I always say if you get tired, you cross them, take them in, give it a little bit of a space to breathe, then take them back out and join the class. Now you can start advancing it into a single leg stretch, and you can even start curling to do so, okay? Then you can do many other things. You can get it under, hold it. You can stretch the other leg to make it even harder. So we can go into really nice light flows. That will depend on your beginners will tap, intermediates will stretch, advanced we play with both legs out, yeah?
So that's a good example of what we're talking about with the progressions and regressions for everyone.
That's exactly right. For every type of, from pregnancy to postnatals, obviously we have to think about the breathing. The upper body warm-up here will be your triceps, very common. The flies to utilize the sidelines, or the full circles. And we can play as well with different type of positions into the arm to warm up. So not necessarily you have to come off the Reformer to work your upper body. You need to use your core. So he's a male, so 2 kilos.
Let's do it.
You'll be fine. Lie down again in the same position, grab your strap. So generally, we help a lot of beginners. This is what I do. Just place your hands inside the straps, that's it. Take those legs on tabletop. How we hold the tabletop as you breathe out?
Toes pointed, or?
Point the toes and be super intentional with hold your legs. Knee aligned with your hips. No, that's inwards. Tailbone heavy. Make sense?
Yep.
Hands really straight, 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 straight. That's it. Now breathe it in, Sam. As you breathe out, lower the hands to the side. And what you're gonna do here is take one leg straight up completely. Stretch as much as you can. I know. Breathe it in, because this is what we're talking about. Lift the hands as you breathe in. Breathe it out through the back of the throat. Come down and stretch the opposite leg. Breathe it in. Yep. Stop the hands before they pass your shoulders. So there, not here. That's it. So this is why I want those hammies to start getting flexibility, and these are the type of movements. Yeah, we're gonna, now as you stretch one, hold the hands, you stretch the other one away. So you're in a scissor. Now close both knees in tabletop, hands up. Breathe it in, breathe out. You could do this, swap legs, that's it. You could do it into a curl. That's it, that's it. So we're getting our
coordination's right.
That's it. Coordination, man, body.
Oh, shit.
I love it.
All right.
And this is somebody who knows exactly what he's doing with his body, but it still happens. That's what Pilates always gets
down,
people.
That goes up, that goes
Scissor,
out.
think about an open scissor, yeah. And then the next one, because what you don't have is a stability through core, you're gonna hold the hands there, and you're gonna switch the legs. 1, 2 pulses, and switch, breathe out. In, out, in, out, in, out. Head down if you need to, and that will be it. And I will work in the way of you need to work stability, centering. You need to open hips because you will be struggling with hip openers and things like that when you are lifting heavy, and the flexibility of your body, if it makes sense, yeah?
So it's really good for static stretches as well, all right? So I'll get really tight glutes and hammies and hip flexors and everything.
So make sure the foot is in front, that's it. And then what we're gonna do as well, we take the foot away and we take it out. That's it. Now sit as low as you can. You can even sit on your forearms into the machine. Scoop your glutes in to really connect the front. So the frontal of the core needs to be connected through the back of your core. Remember, your glutes are the most important part of your core. So you just scoop them in. I would say most important, but a really big part of it. So scoop it in. That's it, and you can feel it. Now, you could add to it. So as you come halfway up with the back leg, you're gonna open the other arm out. That's it. And then you back in as you go deep, yeah? Breathing. You can have the hand close to the ear as beginners. It gives you a little bit less range of motion and still open it up, yeah? I call them heart openers. They're really good for many, many things, because it's important, as we say, a warm-up is important, a cool-down in Pilates, and super important that we breathe differently as well. Through these exercises, it's not about holding pelvic floor, it's letting go.
Yep.
Yeah?
All right, guys, that's it for our routines, hopefully.
Hopefully you understood us.
I don't know how good this footage is going to be, but I'm sure that gave you a bit of an insight as to the benefits, what you can kind of expect in Reformer Pilates, and yeah, we'll cut back to our chat. Guys, so some great visuals, and for anyone listening who hasn't tried it yet, that's what we're talking about. That's the kind of movement you don't realise you need until you feel it. And we'll finish off with a couple of quick fire questions. So, Susana, question number 1. Do you believe in ghosts?
Oh, yes, I do. I've seen them. I felt them. Oh, yes, hell yeah.
Really?
You're talking to the wrong person for that. I do believe on ghosts. Yeah, I lived in Ireland for nearly 10 years. Ireland is there is a ghost tour for a reason. It's a very well-known country for having...
Ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Spirits.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, I can feel it. I'm
Really?
very connected to all that world. Yeah.
Okay.
I was told, this is a bit of a joke, and some people can laugh. I was told I could have been a medium if I want to be trained.
Really?
I got that sixth sense. Yeah, apparently. I sense the afterlife in different ways. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Right, we're talking about spirits. Do you have a spirit animal?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I'm fearless in a different way. So a lioness, probably. My husband would say that.
Lioness, okay.
Yeah.
Can you speak on behalf of Macca? What would Macca's spirit animal be?
I don't know. Macca, if you're hearing this. Probably in a tiger, he will think the way I go into Spanish. No, but probably he will say the same. Like I'm a very soft soul. At the same time, I come across very strong because I'm very straightforward. So that's why we say lioness. I always show my face. If there is a problem, talk to me. That's why probably he will say. But at the same time, I like to retrieve back and leave it to the boss, which he will be the lion, so you can take on, like I'm happy to step back when I need to. I'm not a person who needs to be on the lead all the time, if it makes sense. I'm happy to go backwards. And
so you complement each other very well.
Yeah, in that way, yeah. But in everything that I do in life, I do it that way, like I could be really strong, but then I can retreat back. And that's why I've got the Spanish passion behind me, that's for sure, yeah.
Is there any supplements you would not go without?
Definitely right now with my herbals for my hormonal changes to support my estrogen. It really helps me. And I think now, based on my joints as well, I'm taking a collagen with curcumin that I've been giving on the eyes of a naturopath. And also the other supplement that I'm taking, obviously protein. I love my smoothies. A lot of people say, oh, that's garbage. I just love it. I love a good smoothie in the mornings with my omelette. So, and the other thing that I take daily is to support my gut.
Like gut health?
Yeah, okay. Gut health stuff. IP stuff that I've been taking since I've been diagnosed with gluten and dairy intolerance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most annoying thing people do in the gym?
You were really talking in the gym itself?
Just in general.
When I'm walking around and I see people looking at the mirrors but not moving, like you're not meant to take 20 seconds to lift the weight.
Is it posing?
And not the posing, just looking at it's like you're meant to look at your posture in the body, in the mirror, not the actual muscle.
Yeah.
I find that, look at the mirror. While you're doing that, you're letting go completely your spine. Things like that. It's because I guess it's because I come from the Pilates world. I come into alignment first. But it probably would not be the most annoying thing. There is other annoying things.
Okay. Probably don't have time to go over them.
No. We all do them. Don't get me wrong. We all go to the point, or maybe they're talking a lot.
Okay.
They're talking a lot when you're exercising.
Yeah.
You're not meant to be talking. If you can exercise and talk to a point that you're not out of breath, that's just means you're not doing full on. You're not focusing. Mind-body connection doesn't happen when you're talking constantly.
It's hard to focus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What motivates you on a bad day?
I'm always probably to be honest, sounds very, but that's just my husband and my daughter. If I got a bad day and I was like, I'm done, what keeps me going is the fact that I know I got them behind me, so and besides me.
Best $100 you've spent on physical or emotional health?
Reiki.
Reiki? Okay.
That was amazing.
Yep.
I went through something really tough. My father was diagnosed with Alzheimer, and something obviously shifted in my energy, and I started having major pains through my left-hand side. Obviously, I went to the doctors, there was nothing. I went to a chiropractor, didn't help. I did it all. I did massages, trying to release, and my neighbor, she's a Reiki healer. She's a yoga instructor and Pilates instructor too. And she asked me if I was willing to open up to do that. And I didn't know what it was. I knew my sister already became in Spain because she had a healing center herself. So I thought, okay, I might give this a go. One session, the pain was gone.
Really?
It was about readjusting my energy. Obviously, I was grieving somehow that I knew I was gonna, what it was coming, because being so far away from home as well, with things like that happen. So it was a struggle. First session, the pain was gone, and then it took a few more sessions. Best dollars I've ever spent. I do it still. When I feel a little bit off, I go and I have a Reiki session to realign energy. That's all it's all about, and it's amazing.
Or shameless plug, if you want to get Reiki and you're on the Sunshine Coast, pop into Stay Elite. We can look after you. One piece of advice you'd give to your younger self listening to this?
Oh my God. Listening to everything we talk about? Or you mean listening to this business?
Oh, this, or just if you have some general advice.
General advice to my younger self. Stop asking why people have treated you the way they have. What have I done to them? I would say to myself, stop that. People just will walk through life for a reason on your path. They will come on your path, and some will stay there, others will walk away. and it's just their path. They walk with you till here. They needed a lesson. You needed a lesson from there. They move on. You need to move on. So if I have to go back when I was younger, I would have said that to myself, because that was my struggle, to try to understand why they left. What have I done? It's nothing to do sometimes with what you've done. That's their journey. So that would be the biggest.
That's good advice. Cool, and I've got my little quote of the week as well. So something I've heard over the last week and a half. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from what you once thought you couldn't. Said by Ricky Rogers. One thing I see all the time in the gym is clients and members walking in uncomfortable, unconfident, and rebuilding, and then a few weeks later, they're moving like different people. I find this quote flips the typical view of strength, as it's not about lifting the heaviest weight, holding a perfect pose, or doing what's already within your comfort zone. It's about the moment you do something you're used to believe you couldn't. Physically, emotionally, and mentally, that's where the real strength lives. It's transformational strength, not technical strength. It's the first step after an injury, the first workout, post-baby, the first time you don't say, I can't do that. So thanks again to Susana for the chat today. If people want to follow your journey or need some training, how can they find you?
In SL for Susana Lopez, fitness.com.au. So slfitness.com.au.
Have you got like a business social page?
Yeah, I do have, just on Facebook under Susana Lopez, and I just started again Instagram because I got hacked and they wiped out everything. In SL Fitness Education.
Okay.
That's how they can find me.
So
on
I'll chuck your
Instagram.
Instagram up on the text, or what do you want me to put up?
Yeah.
Instagram or Facebook's better?
For Instagram probably, for the business. Okay. Yeah, I run both, but yeah.
All right, I'll check your Instagram up. If you found value in today's episode, the best way to support the show is by hitting subscribe. It helps me stay motivating knowing this content is providing value for you, and this keeps the episodes coming. You can follow along on Spotify, Instagram, and Facebook at Coach's Corner Podcast, and on YouTube, it's Sam Eames Fitness. Thanks again, Susana, for being here, and thank you to anyone that listens. I appreciate your time, your attention, and your support. Catch you next time on Coach's Corner.